we're going to look at the chart for Nelson Mandela, born July 18, 1918 at 1454 in South Africa. If you were looked at the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see the constellation of Sagittarius rising at 0 degrees. And 0 degrees becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planet that's within 5 degrees of that will have some impact. We're going to look at how the planets are operating, when the planets are operating, and what we can do to fix the chart. Fix your chart, fix your life. First, we're going to look at what houses contain Multikona signs. And we'll see what he's working on in his particular lifetime. So the Multikona signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11, and we see the Sagittarius in the first house, life purpose through teaching. He's working on that, and then you see Aquarius in the 11th sign of Aquarius in the third house of communication. He's all about communications, teaching others. You see the first sign Aries in the 5th house. This is all about, again, education, educating others. You see the 4th sign Cancer in the 8th house. This is all about challenges and obstacles and delays and setbacks and research into spiritual things. And then you see the 5th sign, Leo, in the house, the 9th house of teaching, again, teaching. And then you see Mercury in the house of the 10th house of career. This is, again, career through teaching. And then you see Venus, the Multikona sign of Venus in the 11th house, income through, again, healing the masses. Venus is about healing. So any sign that falls in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house becomes functional malefic. So we see for Sagittarius rising, only Cancer ruled by Moon, so Moon becomes functional malefic for this particular Sagittarius chart, and Rahu and Ketu are always functional malefics. We see that Rahu and Ketu are very close to the rising sign degree, so they have a lot of impact on several houses, and we'll get into that in a minute. But let's just go through the different planets and how they're operating. So Sun rising at 2 degrees, which is weak. You see he has 3 planets in this house of transformation, delays, obstacles, and setbacks, research. It rules the house of good fortune and teaching. So and Sun is a planet of political nature, leadership. Its Sun is weak, so he definitely has Sun that represents heart, so he has some heart issues. But good fortune through political service is what the Sun gives. Moon is at 27 degrees. Any planet that is more than 25 or less than 5 becomes weak, so it is weak, and it's the functional malefic planet in the chart. It also is close to the most effective point. It's within 5 degrees of 0. And it rules this 8th house of transformations and vulnerability, made him very sensitive and vulnerable. And it's placed in the 11th house of income. So it was, and Moon represents the public. So he has income through public service, and he's very vulnerable to, makes him very compassionate for everyone, very intuitive. Mars at 19 degrees rules the 5th house, and and it is placed in the house of career. So this house has to do with educating, and Mars has to do with ambition and drive and leadership, executive role. So teaching was his life purpose or career, basically. Educating others about freedom. Mercury is at 23 degrees, and it's definitely one of his better planets. It rules the house of career, and it's placed in this house of transformation, obstacles, challenges, accidents, and easy money also, windfalls. So his career, and it's conjunct to Saturn as well. So Saturn is conjunct there. And because it's placed in this 8th house also, any planet placed in these houses or ruling these houses, if it's a Multicona sign, becomes weak. So it is also weak. Now Saturn has to do with service. So his communication, which is Mercury, his career is through his ability to communicate and lead and through service. And speaking out on how to bridge divisions in South Africa at the time. Rahu is placed in this house of enlightenment, death-like experience, prison, separations, detachment, and it is functional malefic, and it's close to the most effective point. So it is afflicting this 12th house. And so he spent a good deal of his life in prison, but it also gave him desire for freedom. And it afflicts 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 afflicts this house of family. So he's definitely separated from his family. 6, 7, health issues, which is definitely had a lot of, and conflict, a lot of conflict in his life. 8, 9 in this house of obstacles, lots of challenges in his life, lots of transformations. K2 also afflicts 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So it is afflicting this house of health issues because it's close to the rising sign degree. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 afflicting a career. So because of his outspoken nature about freedom, he was placed in jail. 8, 9, this house of imprisonment, so that had a huge effect there. And K2 gives insights into healing the conflict within the country. So let's look a little bit about when the planets were operating. He was born into a Jupiter period. Jupiter is all about teaching. So you see that was the root of his tree of life. He was a great teacher. And then he would, because of his teaching about freedom, he was placed in prison in 1962 during his K2 Venus period. So K2, again, and Venus, let's see, so Venus is, and K2 are together, and they are, K2 is afflicting Venus in this house of conflict. So through that conflict that he created in the country, he was placed in prison. K2 is enlightenment, but also it can be separation and imprisonment. Then he was freed in 1990 during a Sun Jupiter period. And so Sun represents good fortune. And Jupiter, again, represents, it's in this house of relationships, bringing people together and teaching. So he was free during that period. And then he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 during a Sun-Venus period. So Venus gave him the ability to have good speech, good communication. Then he became president in 1994 during the Moon period. Moon is working with the public and being the healer of the public. And then he died during a Rahu period. Rahu is the end of life. It's in the house of end of life. So those are the main points for Nelson Mandela. Okay. All right. What did you want to do?
I want to do this.
What? Oh, you want to be in there? Okay, so let's see.
Is this okay? You haven't used it in a while.
Yeah, I haven't.
Well, why haven't you used it?
Why haven't you used it? I don't know. We've just been busy with our program.
What do you think, Ted?
Yes, this is Michael. Yeah, I just wanted to be clear. Yeah, tomorrow morning. I'll see you tomorrow morning early. Okay? Yes, I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye. She doesn't speak English.
Who are these people?
I don't know. She was at the lecture. I don't remember for sure, but there was a lady that couldn't speak very good English that came up and talked to me.
From where?
I don't know if she's South American or Hispanic. She's Hispanic of some sort. Let's see. Sagittarius.
You told them how much?
Yeah, 500. Sagittarius is Nelson Mandela. Okay, save